All right, let's dive right into an explainer that honestly plays out like a high-stakes Hollywood thriller. But there's no script here. This is a chilling, true crime event that actually happened to a prominent Delhi business owner. We're going to break down a meticulously planned kidnapping and extortion case that completely stunned the city of Bhopal and see exactly how a totally routine professional trip just spiraled into absolute terror.
Now picture this for a second. You travel to another city to discuss expanding your wildly successful business. You get picked up by a colleague, someone you genuinely trust, right? But instead of pulling up to a boardroom, you're driven to some random apartment, shoved inside, and suddenly, you're staring straight down the barrel of a gun. You try to scream, but your cries are completely drowned out by the loud chanting of a religious ceremony happening right outside the door. A ceremony that was organized literally just to silence you. Crazy, right? How does a respected professional end up in a nightmare like this?
Well, what's really staggering about this whole thing is the sheer scale of the extortion. 1.89 crore rupees. I mean, we are talking about some slow, drawn-out corporate embezzlement here. We are talking about nearly 2 crore rupees forcefully transferred online under extreme physical duress in just a matter of hours. The pure desperation to secure this massive digital payout is exactly what drove the unbelievable events we're about to unpack.
Part 1. The perfect decoy. So let's hit rewind and figure out how a highly respected director ended up in such a terrifying situation. You know, every successful trap needs a perfect decoy, and here we have our key figures. On the left is Shubhra Ranjan, the director of the well-known Shubhra Ranjan IAS Academy in Delhi, and on the right, Priyank Sharma. Now, Priyank wasn't just some random criminal off the street. He was actually a former UPSC aspirant, and, crucially here, he was running a franchise of Shubhra Ranjan's very own academy over in Bhopal. So Priyank completely weaponized this insider knowledge and their professional relationship to gain her absolute trust. And if we look at the timeline, it shows exactly how fast the trap snapped shut. Priyank lured Shubhra Ranjan from Delhi to Bhopal under the completely normal pretext of opening a new center and doing a seminar. So she arrives, checks into a nice 5-star hotel, totally unaware of the danger. Wednesday afternoon rolls around, and Priyank personally picks her up. But they don't go to a seminar. Instead, he drives her to a flat in the Bagsewaniya area. And get this, police later discovered that this flat had been rented literally one single day prior. It was a completely premeditated ambush. Part 2. 4 hours of terror. Okay, so the moment she crossed the threshold of that Bagsewaniya flat, the whole professional facade just dropped, kicking off a calculated 4-hour ordeal. And honestly, this next detail from the police investigation is perhaps the most disturbing part of the whole thing. To prevent neighbors from hearing anything, the suspects actually organized a Sundarkand recital. They essentially used this religious chanting as an acoustic wall, guaranteeing that any screams or cries for help would just never reach the outside world. It's a deeply chilling contrast, right? Using a sacred ceremony purely to mask a violent crime. Once inside that room, it was just pure psychological and physical warfare. Priyank wasn't working alone. Armed men had been hired from places like Datia and Rewa specifically for this job. They used pistols and country-made firearms to terrorize the victim and her associates. I mean, at one point, a gun was held directly to her temple. But it wasn't just physical threats. To guarantee she kept quiet after the ordeal, they forced her to record a staged video showing a person tied with ropes and locked in a box. The brutal implication was crystal clear. If she went to the cops, her associates would be next. So under the threat of execution, with a gun literally pressed against her head, she was forced to authorize massive digital transfers. And the money didn't just vanish into thin air. It was meticulously routed. Nearly 1.89 crore rupees was forced into very specific bank accounts linked to entities named Janakshila Society and RS Enterprises. It was an incredibly brazen, high-speed digital heist, all executed through raw, physical terror. Part 3. Hiding in the ICU. Now, with the money secured, Shubhra Ranjan was released later that Wednesday. But Priyank's plan immediately shifted into this bizarre new phase. Just look at these steps. First, he secures the digital funds. Second, reports indicate he starts contacting agents to just flee the country entirely. But as he realizes the police are actually closing in, he takes an almost comical third step. Priyank Sharma checks himself into the intensive care unit of AIIMS Hospital in Bhopal, pretending to be seriously unwell. He was literally trying to hide from a kidnapping charge in a hospital bed. You really can't make this stuff up. But, of course, the Bhopal police were not easily fooled. Following a complaint filed by Santosh Kumar on behalf of the victims, the crime branch, led by Commissioner Sanjay Kumar Singh, moved with incredible speed. They launched these synchronized raids all across the city. Bagsewaniya, Katara Hills, Saj University, the whole shebang. And when they got the tip-off about the hospital, they marched right into Ames. They consulted with the doctors, confirmed Priyank was perfectly stable, and literally arrested him right out of the ICU. This was happening even as his mother and wife were creating a major commotion trying to stop them. Along with Priyank, 5 accomplices were arrested, though 3 are actually still on the run.
Part 4. Freezing the funds.
Now, catching the criminals is really only half the battle in an extortion case like this. But the police response here was incredibly rapid. Because they acted within hours of the crime, they managed to track the digital footprint of that massive ransom. They got in touch with the financial institutions and successfully froze 100% of the extorted funds. The entire 1.89 crore was locked down completely before Priyank and his crew had any real opportunity to launder it or move it offshore.
And that brings us to this incredibly relieving quote from the authorities. The entire amount has reportedly been put on hold, and the process of returning the money to the victim is being initiated. You know, in the terrifying chaos of a kidnapping, achieving a 100% recovery rate of stolen funds is practically unheard of. It's a massive testament to the fast-acting technical teams within the Bhopal crime branch.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. The kidnapping of Shubhra Ranjan wasn't carried out by strangers in a dark alley. It was executed by a business associate who smiled, shook her hand, and used a franchise relationship to lead her right into a trap. In an age where millions can be transferred instantly with just a tap on a screen, and where professional trust is often given so freely, how safe are any of us from the dark side of blind trust in business? It's a pretty chilling question to leave you with, and it definitely makes you reevaluate the security of your own professional networks. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.